Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reporting Depp v. Heard. This is from my condo in DC because I messed up my introduction outside court yesterday, and I also realised that I had a load of footage to show you as well. So here is the footage of the line on the last day of the trial. As you can see, very, very lengthy as ever. I'll speed it up, otherwise I'm going to have to talk forever before we get to the end of it. I also, once I got a wristband this morning, was able to go around the back because I thought it would be interesting to see who's been lining up around the back just to wave Johnny into court. And whilst I was there, I met a very interesting gentleman called Watson, who is a travelling tattooist. And there is a reason why he is a travelling tattooist rather than having his own tattoo studio, which I will leave him to explain. But he had a reason for being around the back of court to salute Johnny Depp. So that's the length of the queue, slightly sped up so that we can get through it. And this is what it was like when Johnny Depp swept in his SUV around the back of court this morning. Well, there we go. Before I introduce you to Watson, I would just run you through what exactly happened in court today. It was closing arguments, so the jury got their instructions. They got a checklist from the judge as to the decisions they had to make before they could support or find in favour of Johnny Depp and find in favour of Amber Heard. It would be a bit weird if both of them won. It would be less weird if both of them lost. It is possible that one of them will win and one of them will lose, obviously, or there could be a mistrial. Either way, we had the closing arguments in which the two attorneys from each side, summed up what their main arguments were over the course of the case, but the judge said what they're saying is not evidence. You have to make your own deliberations and decisions and recollections as to the evidence and make your decision based on that. So at around 3:00 in the afternoon, the jurors were sent out. And I explain a little bit about how they got from 9 jurors to 7 jurors in my second park bench interview, which we will get to after Watson. So have a listen to Watson. Sorry the sound quality isn't fantastic. I just sort of found him and interviewed him on my phone and didn't plug a microphone in. So there's a little bit of background noise, but hopefully you can cope with that.
Just tell me what happened to you.
Well, I had a similar experience. I was, canceled my own way, hence the shirt. And I had a false accusation that was completely devastating, and it was it was right at the beginning of the Me Too movement. So part of the ideology with that, how they weaponize that philosophy, is that the accusation is the verdict. That there's no due process or a fair trial. There's no habeas corpus. It's basically an old school kangaroo court style lynch mob that comes after you and basically chases you, runs you out of town without granting you, again, the use of the word habeas corpus, like a fair trial. So it was
What were you accused of doing?
Devastating. It was a false allegation of a sexual assault during a tattoo session, which was completely ridiculous and unfounded. There's actually video evidence, that was she secretly, or not secretly, but strangely filmed the whole thing, and you could actually look at the entire document, and there's nothing happens. We actually did a photo shoot afterwards. There was a police investigator, New York City police investigator, who got a hold of me a few weeks later and interviewed me over the thing. And after the interview was done, and he had access to the video footage, he had access to both sides of the story, her story, my story. And by the end of the hour-long interview, he basically was like, "You're free to go. You didn't do anything wrong." So in a way,
what happened to you?
Oh, it was horrible. It was. I'm still living in this shadow. I was forced to leave town. I was instantly fired from the tattoo shop. I was basically banned from the tattoo community. I was forbidden to attend international or national conferences. I couldn't surface anywhere without the radical left and the social justice warrior thugs pushing that false ideology would dox me and come after me and would attack me online anytime I attempted to surface, which I did attempt to surface in even really remote, quiet shops completely far removed from any big city hubs, like out in the mountain shops and stuff.
Because they would have all seen this, wouldn't they?
And they would find me online, and then there'd be this huge, 15 or 20 of them would, write a bunch of defamatory posts, and then they would threaten the shop with a boycott, and then they would quietly ask me to leave. without, and being apologetic, like, hey, we can't deal with this, backlash or this like boycott or this threat of a boycott. So it was devastating. It crushed my family. My daughter was forced to leave town because they came after her. They attacked all of my clientele, and any woman or guy who ever got tattooed by me, they would demand them to share their horror stories, which most of them they had nothing but favorable stories. And then they would force the hand of a lot of younger female clients, and they would basically be under pressure to have some kind of admittance of some weird moment with me. And there was maybe a dozen or so that were like, I had a weird moment with him, and it was maybe a complimentary moment, or suggesting that they look nice, or just being gregarious. And I have a big personality. I'm confident. I'm sure of myself. I make eye contact. It's a generational thing. Like, the confidence with the older generation is different than the lack of confidence in the younger generation. So they take a lot of social cues out of context. And it was devastating. I already kind of had a marriage that was a little troubled. We had been married for 18 years. I had 2 daughters in their 20s, and I was forced to leave town and go in hiding. And it really kind of it ended a relationship that probably would have recovered, or would have worked itself out. But I ended up having to go hit the road and go in hiding. And I've been on the road for 4 years now, and I can't surface anywhere. So that's why I came here.
Yeah, tell me about why you're here.
Well, because I think this is a really important cultural zeitgeist and a precedent in our culture to demand, a due process and a fair trial. And this is not a kangaroo court in any context. It's actually a very official and impressive litigation process that's demanding both parties show the evidence in support of both of their truths, and it's amazing to see an unbelievably overwhelming positive outpour of people who want to hear both sides of the story. And to me, for my personal opinion, I believe that the Johnny Depp is comparatively is based in more truth and honesty and discernment and integrity than Amber is, and her story is full of lies and manipulation, anomalies and fallacies. And I think that everybody can see that, and that's why we need a due process. That's why we need litigation. And the fact that the public now has been part of this huge process, and they've been conditioned and seasoned to think logically and to use critical analysis and to vet information on both sides, that now I think from here on out, with any accusation and whatever coming from anybody in any context, the accusation is not going to be the verdict. People are going to demand more information, and there's going to be more of a social pressure to want to vet an accusation before they believe it. And I think that's what's really amazingly powerful about this moment in time, and why I'm here. It's a big healing element for me, because I think socially now people are going to be able to look at my story a little differently and be like, I actually was going to take her to court in New York City, and the lawyers that I wanted to hire said that it would cost roughly between $100,000 and $150,000. And it's a rich man's game. You can go to court if you're wealthy, but the general working class populace can't afford the high cost of litigation, so we're forced to retreat into the shadows and deal with the cancellation. And usually it takes a few years to recover, and all you can do is, hey, stop digging in that thing. So I think that this is my puppy Bonnie. Hey, what do you? Oh my God, I didn't even notice she was digging. Oh, isn't that cute? Oh. But I think this is a really powerful moment in our culture right now, and something that we need to embrace. It's like, truth needs to be vetted. Truth is tangible, and you can actually use the same process and the same deliberation with any topic, not just, this controversial in a social context. You can use it in academia and sociology and anthropology and philosophy. You can use the trivia method and drill down to the truth and spend weeks on end researching any topic and get a handle on maybe what the truth is over the deception.
My thanks to Watson. We swapped numbers, so hopefully I'll stay in touch with him as he makes his way around the United States tattooing people. The next interview is with someone who I've grown very fond of over the course of the last 7 weeks. She was my very first park bench interview. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will see day one features an interview in the dark with this lady. She doesn't mind me calling her lady. I established that at the beginning of the interview in retrospect. So enjoy my sort of summing up park bench interview with Natasha. As I say, it's not the greatest bit of journalistic inquisition that you will ever see me do, but I just wanted to chat through things with Natasha because, as I say, we've grown quite close, and so it's nice to have her at the very end of the trial as well.
Well, here we are on our final park bench interview of an epic 6-week trial with the lady I met on the very first day and did my very first ever park bench interview with. It's Natasha Miller.
Yes, I'm the lady. That's me.
Is that, should I not call you a lady?
You can call me a lady.
Okay,
I'm
maybe
a
I
lady.
should say woman.
No, I'm both.
Okay, fine. I just suddenly
now.
thought this is going to go really badly if I've started using a term that you don't like.
No, it's fine.
Okay, fine. I'm nervous, Natasha. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. This is your job.
I know,
what are you talking about?
Let's recap the entire trial in the
Christ.
course of the next 15 minutes.
Okay.
One thing that we both agreed is that we met when it was dark and cold on this park bench.
Yes, we did.
I had to wear a hat because it was freezing.
You were very bundled.
And there go the alpacas. We're going to miss the alpacas.
Oh, no, not the alpacas.
Oh, well, you have to take our word for it. The alpacas
The
are passing.
alpacas.
There were no alpacas.
No,
There
were less alpacas.
There were fewer people. I mean, we've seen hundreds of people just queuing outside to see if the lawyers are going to get in.
Yeah, they're just waiting for the lawyers. The
I know.
lawyers are great, but that's a lot.
But yeah, they're not. I mean, yeah, this trial has turned the lawyers into rock stars, hasn't
Yes,
it? It has.
yes.
Quite bizarre. So, what's it been like from your perspective? You don't have to talk about the trial. You can talk about your journey. You can talk about your experience. You can talk about the friends you've made.
Yes, I enjoy the people that I've met and the friends I've made. People from all over the world. They all have different interests in it, and I've met a lot of beautiful people. People have been wonderful here.
Take me through that journey, because, as I say, you were the first person. I won't call you a fan. I'll call you a spectator, unless you're comfortable with being called a fan.
I'm a fan, but I'm a spectator too.
Yeah. It was on jury selection day. It was dark. I think it was about 4 o'clock in the morning.
And I had no idea what I was doing.
And
or
I
where
had no
was
idea
going.
what I was doing. There was one cameraman from Fox News here, and I was talking to him, and then you with your hat just appeared out of the gloom, and I said, "Are you here for the Johnny Depp trial?"
I don't have my hat. I feel like I didn't have my hat.
And you said yes. I said, "Right, can I interview you?" And Natasha, bless her, who was a little bewildered.
I was befuddled.
But it was a great
entirely.
interview, though.
It was wonderful.
It was the start of what I hope is a beautiful friendship.
I hope so. Yes, I think so.
And so we got to know each other, of course, over the last 7 weeks. It's a 6-week trial, but there was a week-long break in between it. And Natasha, as you say, you've met so many different people and had. How many times have you actually queued up and got in? It's the vast majority, isn't it? That
I think I missed 3 days, not consecutively, but in total over the whole
Which is
time.
really impressive. The stamina that you've got to get in line that early, and
it just kept getting earlier and earlier and earlier, and more people and more people and more people.
Day trippers, not OGs like Natasha.
No, there's not many of us. There's like maybe 15 people who are like the main people.
But you've stuck it out. There's a couple of others who've stuck it out as well. Got into, as you said, court most days. What was it that sort of compelled you to keep doing that, even when the queuing got ridiculous and had to be there at 1 in the morning and earlier even?
When you're in there, it's different than when you see it on TV. There's an excitement. There's things move at a different pace. It's where you want to be. Besides, in whatever room Johnny is in is the room to be in. So.
What was it? Was it nice sharing that space with him for such a long period?
Yes.
Staring at the back of his head for such a long period. I know you saw the evidence. Yeah, he has got a very good head of hair for a man his age. There's no two ways about that. I'm not going to sit on the fence about that. He's got a very good head of hair.
No, beautiful hair.
Go on. What were the highlights for you then of this trial?
Oh boy. The audio is always the thing that's gotten me the most. And
hearing the tapes.
Yeah,
played
and
during
I
the
had
trial.
heard most of it because I think most of it was in the UK.
Yeah.
It was like disclosed and stuff.
Yeah.
But The one thing I'll never forget is the audio of him. She's telling him something, take off your ring or whatever, and you can hear it hit the ground.
Right.
And it's just like, it's like a definitive moment. Like, it's fine, I'm done. It was like a powerful moment to me.
And the jury has all this audio.
Yeah.
Because they don't have transcripts. They don't have a huge amount of written evidence, do they? Because they were fighting so hard over
They
what
were,
documents could get and lots of redactions
yeah.
and stuff. But they've got all the audio and well, the video, haven't they? So that will, I think, form a key part of their deliberations. Because the jury are deliberating as we speak. The judge finished at about, 3 o'clock this afternoon? And then she just said, it's out of my hands. And she got rid of the 2 jurors. What was it, 14 and 9?
Oh, I'm not
14
sure.
and 3 it was.
14 and 3.
And I think one of them was that little middle-aged lady sitting down the front, because she looked at the Johnny Depp scene and just went, oh, like that. And I thought, I wonder if that gave any indication as to which way she was going to land.
Didn't one man have a hernia, or he had?
Oh, you know, that was much earlier on. But you know, they got rid of 2 jurors at the end today.
Oh, today at the end.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't. I didn't know that.
That's to get the number down to 7.
Oh, okay.
So they have to have 7 jurors, and they've always had redundancy built into this. And there are 2 jurors who've sat through this entire trial who were told today that they're not going to make a decision, but they were not released from jury duty in case someone falls sick during the actual deliberations. And if that happens, the judge said one of them will be brought back, and then the jury has to start all over again deliberating with this new juror.
I heard, I don't know if this is true, I heard if there's a mistrial, they'll try it again? Is that how that works?
I think that's an option, but if there's a mistrial, all the parties can walk away, because obviously it costs money.
And if they all want to go through it again?
But if they both want to go through it again, it's another trial.
Oh, Lord.
I don't think I'll be coming to that one. This has been...
This is a lot. This is enough,
a lot,
maybe, yeah.
So how do you think you've changed, or what has changed around your life, and what has changed in your thinking over the course of the last 6 weeks?
I feel like I'm a different person. I'm not sure who yet, but
Yeah,
different.
I feel like I've
different.
changed as well, and for this experience, for the better, or do you think you've become more adventurous, more?
For the better. It's definitely for the better.
Has it helped your head? Has it sorted your head out?
Yes.
In what way?
I think I'm more clear on where my own priorities lie and what I want in my life and who I want to love and be there for, and things have sorted out in my mind a lot, so that's been nice.
And has that just been through the sort of amount of time you've been able to spend away from home, or were you able to pick up on certain things that were coming out of the trial that you dwelt on, or was it just having that thinking space inside court? Because I've seen you a couple of times. You know, you're not one of these people who likes to try and get away with Johnny, or you're sitting near the front. I've seen you sometimes just sit apart and just be thinking, clearly, whether you're listening very intently or thinking about something else. I don't know.
I'm always sitting apart, but yeah, you do have a lot of time to think, especially during boring moments sometimes. I think I've never had friends, per se, and everybody, well, not everybody in the line, but a lot of the people I've met, this has been like a growing, learning thing for me that I didn't realize it was going to be any of this when I came here. I didn't know that it was going to...
What were your expectations when you came?
I didn't have any. I thought it was going to be like the UK, and you could just wave and be like, hi, and he'd come out and like maybe shake hands or sign autographs or something. I didn't realize that he wasn't allowed to do that. I didn't know you could go in. I didn't know it would be any of this. So it just became... I'm not even sure quite what yet.
No, it's a very strange experience for those of us who've been and lived through this big sort of 7-week
survived.
Going from what felt like the depths of winter. It got close to freezing at times in the line, didn't it? And now we're not quite in high summer, but it's certainly high spring, and we've had some very hot days. And so that you sort of felt the changing of the seasons.
Every morning, 4, 5, 6, it's cold. No matter what weather it's like going on, when you go into it in the line, it's cold.
And when the sun comes up, it's a glorious thing, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's beautiful here, so it hasn't been all bad to wait in line for so long.
Yeah, I mean, of all the courthouses that I've ever had to spend a lot of time at, this is, it's functional. No one would pretend it's wonderful architecture or anything like that, but it's an amenity, and you've got this open parkland around you, and there's space, isn't there? And there's not too much traffic, and
well, there is now.
Well, there is now, yeah. I'm not quite sure what was going on. Yeah.
In the beginning, there wasn't so many people. I thought that when Johnny came off the stand and I thought it would calm down, not explode, but went the other way on me.
It did. It's definitely, I don't know, we're both really inarticulate, aren't we? Because well, you're not, I am. I've lost the power of ability to ask questions.
Because there's so much.
Yeah, there is so much. I'm trying. So what would you say was the highlight for you out of everything out of this experience?
Oh, that's just so much. The highlight. the fact that I did this, like
Yeah.
maybe that's like my own little personal yay me moment, but like I did this, I did something. I mean,
You drove from Reno. You're from Colorado.
I am, and I drove from Reno. Didn't think I could do that. Wouldn't have thought that I could get up and walk and run and just be in it like I was.
Right.
So I'm a little bit proud of myself.
No, that's fine.
but-
That's an absolutely brilliant. I mean, I said that a lot of people have been on personal journeys. I mean, a lot of people come together because they want to be in the same orbit as Johnny Depp or show their support for him, and they've found different things in each other and different reasons for wanting to be here. And I think very possibly, certainly created a community around it, but drawn strength from it as well. I think.
I never knew how many people wanted to just be like on TV or just be like famous for a moment. Like I didn't know that. And then there's so many people who like they survived domestic abuse or they had like that's my personal one is I've had substance abuse problems, so I understand that. And there's just he went through so much that people almost anyone can find something that they say I can see myself because I was there, so I understand how you felt when you were there.
Yeah.
So.
My highlight has been meeting the deputy sheriffs.
Oh, I love it.
We don't have them in the UK, and so just sort of seeing how they little work within this quasi-judicial setting. You know, they are police chiefs, but they're all, or police officers, but they're also, but they're not. They have authority, but their authority is within the judicial system, right? Which we just don't have that.
Sorted out who. Has
Yeah, I don't know
what
the relationship between the
function.
police and but they're functionaries of the court, of the justice system, aren't they? I mean, like the sheriff in the old style western was the guy who ran the jail and he kept he kept the law. Yeah.
But no, they've been amazing. The cops have been incredible.
We see a lot of them every day, and so they've become quite an important part of our lives because they kind of tell us what to do, but they also, once they get to know you, they trust you and they let you give you a bit more leeway. And
I don't even know the names of the cops in my own town.
Right.
But I know the names of the cops here.
And the girls in the building, yeah, they are great characters. They're obviously, and they're used to dealing with people. They're used to sort of just checking whether you're going to be trouble or not. And once they realise you're not, they'll give you a bit more leeway. So
right. Peacock and Jamie and Williams and see, I know their names now. That's just amazing to me. And there's a woman at security. Oh, I'm gonna miss that woman.
Oh, the Egyptian lady.
No, she's a black woman.
Right.
But she knows me every time we talk in the morning. And the bailiff guy who says his spiel every morning about don't chew gum and don't. I'm gonna miss hearing that and be like, I think I'm missing hearing something I should be hearing.
It's weird. It is weird because we are essentially, I think, just getting in the way of the administration of justice a large amount of the time. I would argue that we do have some function, and I suppose this is open justice, isn't it? This is the principle of open justice, that everyone who wants to can come along and sit in a courtroom. They knew that a huge amount of people would be doing that, so they put in place resources to make sure that we were managed, controlled, and kept safe. Also, the sheriffs play an important role in that. I still have issues with journalists not being allowed into court. Without having to queue up with everyone, but
you guys had to just get in
we
on
had
the ground with the police.
We had a bit of a raw deal, but that's the way the cookie crumbled on this case and in this courthouse, and it means that we've ended up,
I heard that
being part of this in some way, haven't we? In some weird way,
we've been a great part.
Yeah.
We did great. Yes. I heard that I don't know if they do this in cases. I just heard it that they'll take the public's opinion into consideration for the case. I don't know if that's a real thing. I just heard that. I thought that can't possibly be true, right? Like they're not going to.
The jurors.
The whole I guess the judge and the jury. I thought that's not a real thing.
They've got to focus.
I heard that it was. I heard that it was that they've done it in cases before. I don't know what kind, but they'll like take. Did they mean family or they can't just mean the general public,
They'd
right?
be very clear to say you're just focused on the evidence that you've heard in
like,
court.
We don't care what you think. You're the public.
No. But I was here this morning for the arrivals around the back of court, and I haven't seen that personally for a couple of weeks, and it's out of control.
Yeah, I was out there.
This is snowballed, hasn't it?
I was out there today.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember when you could go around the back of the building, there'd be 4 or 5 people and one photographer?
Yeah, I used to go around the back, and Officer Hernandez, he's like, I haven't seen you for a while, and I was like, oh yeah, remember when I was the only one who stood here?
Yeah.
And now it's just like
it's really strange, and I'm still trying to process how important this trial is, and obviously the verdict is going to be massively important, but it feels like something has happened. We've got to the end of this lengthy process. I mean, even the judge at the end was sort of said something about, oh, now I know what it's like to be a rock star. I couldn't quite catch what she said in court.
Well, everyone, the judge and bailiff guy and sheriff's office, everybody, they know all those people now, and they'll get recognized forever.
Well, in court, it was really strange because obviously, as spectators, you're not meant to make any facial expressions or talk at all. Certainly not allowed to have any electronic items. And right at the very end of the trial, the judge gave a little speech thanking all the attorneys and the bailiffs and everyone who'd helped out. But then, as Johnny was leaving, I would say a good 50 people started sort of crowding out and just silently waving at him in order to attract his attention. Then he turned around, started waving back, and there was a few, "Oh, we love you, Johnnies." And I thought, this is odd. This really is quite odd.
Yeah, Judge Penny said that. She said, nothing has been normal in this case. Those weren't the exact words, but it was something to that
and she
effect.
also said the courtroom is the entire world.
Yeah.
When she
Yeah,
was
she
talking
did.
about how to stop people hearing what was going on. So they are aware in the courtroom about how big this has become.
Yeah, they are very aware now.
I do wonder how much the jurors have been able to keep away from seeing information that's outside their strict remit, because they're only human. But they've got their instructions, and I guess we'll just have to see how it goes.
Just wait and see. I just wonder, I would love to know what Johnny, what he thinks of all of this. Like,
Well, I'm sure he's lapping it up. I mean, he's a movie star, isn't he? He's found his audience once more.
Just like, what do you think when someone comes and waits online every day for you and sits in court and here's your stuff? Like, what does he possibly think of us? Not you, me, but like fans.
Yeah, well, we know what he thinks of journalists, don't
Well,
we?
no, that's not
What did he call it? Vultures. We're the vultures.
There you are.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we are making a living off the back of Johnny Depp's legal actions,
Oh, well.
but we've all got to make a living,
Yes,
haven't we?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, you do.
So what are the plans for you then?
Go home,
Not going to stick around for the verdict?
which could be...
Could be in the
No.
next 10 minutes.
Well, if it's within the next 10 minutes, I'll stay. But if it's longer than that, I'm going to go.
Yeah. You've got important things to do, haven't you?
I
and a
do.
long drive ahead of you.
Yes, long drive. It'll be nice, it'll just be quiet for a minute. It's been so loud.
I'm looking forward to just that alarm not going off and having to... I mean, I like Fairfax a lot, but I won't actually mind if I don't ever see this park bench ever again.
I see this place again, it'll be
Yeah,
too
but I'm
soon.
sticking around to see if the verdict comes in the next week, because I've got other things to do anyway, so might as well. It'll be quite nice actually, strolling in at
Yeah, a decent time.
decent
yeah.
time, have a spot of breakfast in the Fairfax County Courthouse cafeteria, see whether or not anything's going to happen. I mean, I guess I just have to sort of lurk around outside court again.
You're just gonna, yeah, again. You're just
I'm a
gonna
lurker,
chill outside.
but I won't be having to watch anything or type anything up or God.
It'll be a leisurely one.
Maybe a leisurely wait in the corridors of the courthouse, but there are worse places to be, I suppose.
Yeah, for
aren't
sure.
there?
You could be
Yeah.
over there in the jail.
Well, that's true. That's true. There are parts of
That
this
was-
judicial complex which are not that pleasant.
No, that was also an interesting one, is when they released the drunk tank at night. And it was
Yeah.
the middle of the night, and drunk people wandered over and talked and yelled, and
Yeah.
it was interesting.
Yeah, that was in the days when they didn't have sheriffs on the line all the time, wasn't
Well,
it?
they didn't until the very end. They didn't have cops, and they didn't have
Yeah.
people like controlling it until just the very end. And I don't know how controlled it was even then, but
Hey. Well, look, Natasha, it's been an honour to get to know you over the course of the last 7 weeks,
Yes, you as
and
well.
I hope we stay in touch. Thank you very much for your insight right at the beginning of the trial. Thank you for your insight at the end of the trial. And thank you to everyone who's come and sat on this park bench over the course of the last 6 or 7 weeks, because it's been educative, interesting, informing, and quite fun sometimes.
yes. And to all the fans who came, you did awesome, and I think we were good supporters. I hope we did him proud. I think
I think Johnny Depp has no doubt how much he is appreciated and supported, certainly by the people who turn up at this courthouse. And
he is truly loved. People adore him earnestly. Like, they're not just like faces like I don't know about.
no, you say what you want to say. Say what you want to say.
They do. They love him. They do. I do. He's a big person, he's
Yeah, no, I understand. And well, hey, look, if he wins, that's it. Johnny's back, baby. Reputation vindicated.
right, but he's Johnny Depp. Like, Jesus, even if he doesn't win, it's like, go, Chief, go paint and sing and make movies, and you're you, and you're good. You're good.
Yeah, but if he doesn't win, that means that the jury think he's a wife beater, and they've seen the evidence and they've come to that conclusion.
I don't know about the court of public opinion. I don't feel like that's the.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing. The employers of this world will have to follow.
Yeah,
But as I said, that's why I said if he wins, this will be a seismic event because it has so many implications for other cultural forces.
do you think this case will definitely? It's got to set precedent for something. You go back and refer to the.
Well, I mean, if he wins, also this has implications for First Amendment kind of stuff as well, freedom of speech, because
they are hinging on
well, that's what one of the defense is. They're saying, look, Amber Heard is free to say what she said, and for a very powerful man to shut that down, which would have to be on the basis that her allegations are false, but that will have implications in that area. But if he wins, the number of men who say that they've been disbelieved and abused and unfairly accused of heinous things and being cancelled or even criminalised as a result of it, that's another big side to this, which will spin out for decades if he wins. So it's certainly going to make things very interesting if the jury does come back in his favour.
Would be good, but I mean, even so, he being who he is, I'm not saying it would be hard, but.
Oh, he'll have a career. He'll have a career.
He has his life. He'll be okay. But we're hoping he'll be fine. He'll be fine, Johnny. He'll be fine.
Natasha, thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it. Whew. All right.
We're at the end.
We are at the
This is the end. We made it.
Oh man, thank you so much for that. I think that's got a lovely synchronicity to it, you being the first and last guest. I do
Yes,
appreciate
that was
it.
good. That just turned out well.
Okay. So my thanks to Natasha Miller. My apologies once more for that not being the best interview that I've done, but I'm getting very tired. And as I say, I've sort of come to see Natasha as quite a close friend, and I was just enjoying her company sitting on the park bench after what's been a very, very long trial. It has been, well, I mean, there are harder jobs to do in the world, but it has been something that has brought quite a few people together, and we've obviously had this experience in the same location, all doing slightly different jobs, but it's been an interesting kind of experience nonetheless. So that's it from me. That's it from Reporting Depp v Heard. I will probably do something around the time of the verdict, but I can't promise because I don't know where I'll be. And obviously the verdict, if I'm not here to report it directly, will be around the world very, very quickly indeed. So it might be entirely pointless unless I can find an interesting guest to opine on it, in which case I might do a remote park bench interview. I'm very grateful to everyone who has watched or listened to the YouTube update or the podcast. You're more than welcome to go and have a trawl through the archive because there are some really interesting guests who come along. Just go to the website reportingdeppvheard.net, and I want to give a special thank you to every single person who very kindly made a donation to subscribe to the newsletter. The support of the people who've subscribed to the newsletter has allowed me to do these audio and visual updates, so it's them that I'm particularly grateful to. If you have watched, listened, contributed or read a newsletter or just clicked around idly on the website, I am very, very grateful. But for now and for at least until the verdict, I'm going to be signing off. Thank you very much indeed.